Hello everyone. Today I want to talk to you about bike touring. So now in these next few videos you're going to see me talking about my bike and getting prepared for my trip that's going to be coming up in about 10 weeks. So now the first thing I want to talk to you about is how I really got into this folding bike business and going on these tours and stuff is because I had the care home, and it was a kind of a way to be able to take time off from the care home. And so I would go down on the Amtrak to Portland, and I would spend like the weekend, and I'd come back, and then the following month I would do something else. Well, after a while, I kind of got tired of the Amtrak and stuff. I wanted to kind of do something different, so then I started riding my bike and stuff. And then somehow or another, I, got into these, seeing people traveling with their bikes and stuff. And I'm thinking, oh, that's kind of interesting. Maybe I should do something like that. So then I started doing some little small camping trips around and stuff. And then I would go on the Amtrak with my bike and go different places too with it. But then I wanted to really go a little farther, like take the distance and go to maybe other states and stuff. So the first time that I actually decided to go somewhere different was a trip from Seattle to Spokane. And I was going to take my bike. But the thing was, they wanted so much money for it that I decided I would call up the bike shop and I would find out in Spokane if I could take the bike, get a bike there, run a bike there, and do the Centennial Trail and hang around Spokane and then come back. And that worked for me pretty well. And so then I decided that I would do it again and do it going to Portland and stuff. And so I took my regular bike and things and everything was good. But then somehow or another I heard about, the folding bike, and I thought, now that's interesting, right? But I didn't really get into it too much. But then I decided I wanted to go to Florida and ride a bike and test it and see how it was. And so I took I flew from Seattle to Orlando. I rented a bike from the bike shop in Orlando. I had first called them up and asked if they did something like that. And I kind of pretty much told them what I wanted on this bike because of the stuff that I was bringing, my camping stuff, because I was going to be camping out and stuff. So that worked for me well. I went all the way up to South Carolina, and I did tours around South Carolina, and I came back down to Orlando, and I flew on home. It was great. Then the next time I decided I wanted to do it again, and I flew back to Orlando, and that time I went all the way down to Miami. That was another great opportunity. But now by that time, I was thinking, okay, maybe I do want to get my own bike and stuff, and see how that goes. Well, how would I do that? Because they're going to just charge so much money to get on the plane or even on the Amtrak with this bike, and they want it to be in a bike box, and you got to take the wheel off, you got to put everything in there, you got to pack it, you got to send it to baggage, and what if it gets lost? It was just, I don't know about this. But anyway, I found the touring bike that I wanted, the folding bike, and it's a Brompton, and so that's worked for me really well. I got it when I had the care home, which has been over 12 years that I've had this bike, and it's worked great, and it's just, I've never had any problems, thank God. Everything's been just great, but I always take it back to the same place that I bought it from, and they work on my bike. No one else has touched the bike. If I can't do anything, then I take it back down to Portland, and they work on it. So when I have this bike, and I'm getting on the plane, how does it work for me? Well, if the plane is big enough, then the bike is simply folded, and I put some protection around, like pool noodles and whatever, and pack it around pretty good, and I put it inside a big, large IKEA bag that zips up. So I didn't want a lot of attention on my IKEA bag, so I made like a soft canvas bag that I can slip it into, but doesn't weigh a lot, and it's just easy to fold up and pack away. And so that's what I did. Now, when I get to my destination, I have this bag that fits on the back of the bike. And I just strap it to the back of the fender of the bike, because it has kind of a bar in the back that came with the bike. And then the black bag, which is the tea bag snaps on in the front by the handlebars. And that just that's the one I use to go on the plane with. So basically when I'm going on the plane, inside the plane, I'm taking my helmet, and then I'm taking this bag. I've got it on this side of me, and I've got the bike in the bag, and I'm carrying it on the plane. I'm going to put it in the overhead, the bike. And the bag, I usually keep it down with me next to the seat and stuff. And the helmet, I put up in the top too. Now, if I'm going on the bike and I'm on the plane, I can take this. This is okay, but it has to stay with me. So it's going to be in that black bag because that's going to be my electronics. But I cannot take this with me. This is too much for a battery to go on the plane. This one here, it can, but what was explained to me, this one is okay. You keep it in your bag, and if something happened and it was to catch on fire, then I would give that to the flight attendant. She has a special bag to put it in, which would put the fire out. But if it's something like this, and I put this and that, and it goes through the baggage, and it was to happen to be on the plane, and it happened to start on fire, there's no way to get to that and stop that fire. So that's what you need to understand. So now when it comes to traveling with the folding bikes or with any bike, and it maybe be an e-bike or, you know, with the electrical bikes and stuff, it was explained to me at Portland because I was going to do the conversion of making my Brompton into an e-bike or into the, you know, where you plug it with some assistance and stuff. But the guy told me I can do that and it'll cost you $1,600 to do the conversion. But it's going to be a battery that is separated. You have to put the batteries together to become one. He says because the plane does not allow those on the plane. It's got to be separate and it has to stay with you. So that's the second time I've been told that. So I just want to make sure that people understand. Of course, don't take my word for everything that I'm saying. You go and you do your homework and you ask about that. Is that allowed on the plane? And you make sure that you get that information right, because if it's incorrect and you happen to get to the gate and you're standing with your ticket and you've got something like this, it's not going. If they say no, it's not going. It's either that stays behind or you stay behind, and you don't want to lose your vacation, you know, because you thought you could take it. Never assume anything. You want to always ask, especially if you're going to a foreign country, because there are some things that they do not allow in their country. I remember in the 70s, we were traveling to Brazil. They did not allow movie cameras into Brazil. We had a brand new movie camera. We had a sign of paper saying that we would be bringing the movie camera back home with us. They were that strict with going into a São Paulo area. They did not want that in Brazil. So you need to make sure that you know that. Always check your information to make sure that you've got the correct information. So that's when I did that and got on the plane with this, I found that I really like this. This is great. This is an easy way to travel. No more cardboard boxes of putting it in, taking it out, paying for the cardboard box to go on the plane, and then when you get to the to your destination, you have to throw the box away. There goes your money you lost. Then when you get back on the plane, you got to do the same thing. This is easy stuff. Get on the plane. Now, if you don't have a bike and you just want to kind of test the waters, then you could go online and you could check. Maybe you're going to, say, Orlando or going to Atlanta, and you maybe don't have a bike, but you just want to test it to see if this is something for you to do. You can always pack this, and you could a bag like this, your camping stuff, or you can choose to stay in a hotel and just pack your little bag, like something like that would fasten to the bike, you know, something that's easy. And you could call the bicycle shop and you could have a bike waiting for you. So when you got to the airport, then you could take the public transportation and go and pick up your bike and go on your little trip, then come back and drop your bike off. I've done that several times and that's worked for me very well. Now, I just feel like, though, if I did something like that, I would do that like in a foreign country, because that's what I thought about doing in Lebanon, is because I knew I could not take this with me. for my sleep app. Now that things have gotten a little complicated because I have to have a sleep app, okay, Lebanon doesn't always have the electricity. From this last trip I went to, from 1 to 6 o'clock in the morning, there was no electricity. And I didn't have this with me, and I couldn't take this. So what happened was I simply had to just leave the machine. The machine had to be turned off, and then wait for electricity to come back on, and then go take a nap using the sleep app machine. So I would get electricity from like 8 at night to 1 o'clock. Then the electricity would go off. Then the electricity would come back on at 6 o'clock. So I could take a little nap after 6 in the morning, and then okay for the rest of the day. So that's what I want to tell you about, is like, you need to make sure that you have all your information correct, because you don't want to have that problem. All right, so this is the first part of how I got into the biking with this. And so now, and it's worked for me great. Just pops open, and I'm set to go. I roll out of the airport, and I'm down the road. Same thing coming back. I get to the airport, fold everything back down, take my ticket, get on the plane, and go home. How easy is that? Now, if this is something you think, you'd like to get into, then I will be, giving these little videos, short videos before I go on the trip and stuff. But you can always welcome to ask me questions, and I'll tell you what I know. Plus, you can go online and ask questions too, and people will talk about, there's wonderful information out there about traveling with your bike, camping out, the easiest way, the most reasonable ways, because a lot of times things can get expensive. Like I've told you in the past how it was with the camping at the state park. It's cheaper when I'm in my own state, but once I leave my state, then it becomes more expensive. And so at some point I've paid as much as $57 for one night camping spot in Key West. But I will be talking to you more about that. So you guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video today. And if you have, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye now.